Big news in Greenville housing, cluster communities have been put on pause. If you've been thinking about doing something real estate related in Greenville, you're gonna wanna know more about what this means for you. So as I mentioned, Greenville County has hit pause on cluster communities. I wanna dive in this video what this means and what kind of impact this can have and what's behind these policy shifts. So first, we might want to define what a cluster community is. Cluster communities are when you group houses together, they have minimal privacy, minimal backyard, and typically they share a lot of the common areas and green spaces. On August 2nd of 2025, Greenville officially shut down the building of cluster communities. This has already had an impact. One community that was previously approved but had to go back through the approval process was actually denied. So this is something that's going to have a big impact moving forward. We don't necessarily have a definitive timeline of when this ban will actually stop either. Depending on how you think as you're watching this video, you may be thinking one of two thoughts. One, why did they stop them? Or two, why were they even allowing them? So let's answer both of those questions. First, why did they put a stop to this? Ultimately, what Greenville County wants to do is be able to control growth and ensure that they have all the restaurants and the grocery stores and the roads and the infrastructure needed to support people moving to the area. And what they were worried about is as more and more of these communities came in and they were bigger, using smaller amounts of land with more and more housing, they were worried that they just wouldn't have the infrastructure to support everyone that's moving to the area. So that's the answer to the first question. So now let's answer that second question. Of course, if you can get land and you can maximize its use, you can build more affordable housing. So there is a pro to this where you can get more affordable homes for people to move into. But then there's also that con of you're moving so many people into an area and it can create congestion and can create some infrastructure challenges. Locally, there is huge debates with people on both sides of the fence worried about what this will do and how this will create an impact for Greenville moving forward. Just to kind of prove this point, I went on Reddit and I found some really great comments. One said, I am tired of developers. They're paving over pastures, countrysides to build cheap cookie cutter housing developments. People that were concerned about stopping the cluster housing communities said, are we trying to keep people out? What about people who have lower paying jobs? They need houses, they need to be able to afford them. Someone also worried about all the land and if that is going to have an impact as a landowner on the potential value for it long term. Other people mentioned that if we put heavy restrictions on how much land needs to be with the house, that a lot of local people wouldn't be able to afford homes. So there's a heavy debate going on between both sides. Now you may be wondering, how does all of this affect you? If you've been watching this video, likely you're thinking about doing something real estate related in Greenville at some point. So how does this impact you directly? Well, if we have a longer delay on cluster communities, it likely could drive up the cost of new construction homes. Right now, new construction has made up a large amount of the inventory that's here in Greenville County. So if that stops and we have less resale homes, what's going to happen is prices will rise. So that could have a pretty dramatic impact. If you live here locally, of course, if you want to see less traffic congestion, you're probably pretty happy that the county has decided to do something about this. Ultimately, right now, everything was put on pause. It wasn't completely stopped. It wasn't halted forever. What this did is give the county an opportunity to evaluate everything that they've been approving and decide what is going to make the most sense moving forward. Maybe they create some different restrictions. We have clients that relocate here from other places around the country, and there are a little bit more restrictive rules of you've got to have this much land for a property if you're building this many homes or whatever the case may be. So some of those things may come into play, and we've even seen that in Greenville County, where they've started making some restrictions with people who have septic tanks on their properties. So we may see some other options. Just from our personal view for us on our team, what we've been seeing is a lot of the builders have decided to build outside of Greenville County. And we were kind of seeing some of that happen already because the cost of land has gotten more expensive in Greenville County. So they're just gonna go slightly outside and keep building up the surrounding areas. So we'll see how this fully develops, and we'll be tracking this throughout the upcoming months and years as this continues to progress. And if there's any big changes like a complete halt or a change into the building restrictions, we'll definitely let you know. So there you have it. I'm curious to hear, what is your take on this? Are you in support of cluster communities, or are you glad there's a temporary halt? Let us know in the comments down below.